Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are diving into something absolutely fascinating. We're going to unpack the multifaceted significance of a deeply ancient text and see how it remarkably, and I mean remarkably, connects to modern pediatric speech therapy. It's this incredible bridge between millennia-old spiritual narratives and 21st century clinical science. So let's get right into it. Here is our roadmap for today. We're going to kick things off with the mystery of Taha, look at its spiritual blessings, explore the epic story of Moses and the burning bush, delve into his specific prayer for speech, and finally, connect all of this ancient wisdom to modern therapy.
Starting with Section 1, the mystery of Taha.
Now, right off the bat, we've got to clear up a super common misconception. You might hear the name Taha and think it's one of the names of Prophet Muhammad. A lot of folks actually believe that, but actually, it belongs to a very specific category of disjoined Arabic letters known as muqatta'ats. These enigmatic letters simply open the 20th chapter of the Quran, serving as this profound, mysterious introduction.
And what's truly mind-blowing about this specific chapter is the sheer historical weight it carried. Revealed during the early Meccan period, its rhetoric was so powerful that it famously caused Umar ibn al-Khattab, who was initially a really bitter opponent, to completely change his life and convert to Islam just upon reading it. I mean, that really speaks volumes about the raw emotional power of these verses, doesn't it?
The text itself is structured like a perfectly balanced literary puzzle. Scholars call this a ring structure. If you look at the thematic layout, the introduction and conclusion act as these perfect bookends. Then, you move inward to matching sections on Judgment Day, and right there at the very center, you find the intertwined stories of Moses and Adam. It is just a highly sophisticated, brilliant design.
Moving right along to Section 2, Spiritual Blessings and Practices.
So, beyond its rich history, Surah Taha has a vibrant living tradition today. For centuries, believers haven't just read it, they've actively used it, seeking out all sorts of spiritual benefits. We're talking about practices that range from reciting it over water to treat skin ailments and allergies, to finding relief from crushing debt, achieving marital harmony, or even just keeping it close as a divine amulet for everyday spiritual protection. Because of this, spiritual traditions hold this text in the absolute highest possible regard. It's viewed as a massive source of divine grace, promising the ultimate payoff, paradise without reckoning, for those who make a dedicated habit of reciting it.
Let's dive into Section 3, Moses and the Burning Bush. Try to picture this scene for a second. Moses is traveling through the dark desert with his family. They're vulnerable, they're cold, and they desperately need direction. Suddenly, way off in the distance, he spots a mysterious fire in the sacred valley of Tuah. So he tells his family, hey, stay right here, hoping to bring back a burning branch, or maybe find someone who can guide them. It is this deeply human, relatable moment of seeking warmth and safety, but it's about to turn into something completely unimaginable. As he gets closer to the fire, the whole narrative shifts into a direct, divine conversation, and it kicks off with this incredibly simple, almost surprising question from the divine voice, "And what is that in your right hand, O Moses?" Think about that. Why on earth is the creator of the universe asking about a simple, everyday wooden staff? It's a brilliant move. It immediately focuses Moses' attention and grounds him in absolute reality right before the miraculous takes over.
So Moses walks up looking for a literal torch, but instead, a voice calls out his actual name. He's told to take off his sandals because the ground is sacred, and then comes the ultimate, world-shattering revelation. Indeed, I am your Lord. In this totally awe-inspiring and frankly terrifying moment, Moses realizes he's being chosen for a monumental task, to go and confront the tyrant Pharaoh himself.
Which brings us to Section 4, the prayer for speech.
Okay, so Moses is given this massive command to face down the most powerful man in Egypt. But here is where it gets incredibly relatable. Moses is instantly paralyzed by fear. Why? Because he suffers from a severe speech impediment, a lisp. Tradition tells us this actually stemmed from a childhood accident where he mistakenly put a hot coal on his tongue instead of a date. Before he can even think about facing an empire, he has to face his own frustrating inability to clearly communicate.
And in that moment of dread, Moses prays. He says, "O my Lord, expand for me my breast, and ease for me my task, and untie the knot from my tongue." It is such a beautiful, desperate, and honest plea. He's asking for internal courage, yes, but he's also literally asking for the physical ability just to be understood. He isn't looking for a shortcut or an easy way out of the mission.
And what scholars point out here is just profound.
Moses totally accepted his physical limitation. Notice, he didn't ask for a miraculous 100% perfect cure, so he could suddenly be this flawless silver-tongued orator. No, he only asked to untie the knot so that they may understand his speech. He asked for the absolute bare minimum capability required to just get his vital message across. Focusing on the function of communication over perfect articulation is a huge takeaway here.
Now let's bring it all together in Section 5, Ancient Text, Modern Therapy.
Let's fast forward from that sacred ancient desert valley all the way to the year 2024. A really fascinating academic study just published in the Al-Qalam Journal takes this exact story of Moses and systematically maps it onto modern pediatric speech pathology. The researchers literally looked at how the struggles and the coping strategies found in this ancient text mirror exactly how we treat kids with speech delays today.
It's a gorgeous juxtaposition. On one hand, you have an ancient prophet trying to overcome a physical impediment to speak truth to a massive empire. On the other hand, you have modern therapists and parents helping little toddlers overcome speech disorders just so they can play and connect with their friends at school. The scale of the stage is totally different for sure, but that deep, core human struggle to simply be understood, it's exactly the same.
And the stakes for these kids are incredibly high. Children struggling with speech delays face a massive psychological toll. Imagine not being able to express what you feel or need. It leads straight to social isolation. These kids feel misunderstood, they're self-esteem tanks, and eventually, a lot of them just stop trying to talk to their peers altogether because they are so afraid of the frustration or the ridicule. It's a silent, heartbreaking struggle.
But here is the amazing part. Speech therapists today use strategies that mirror the Moses narrative almost step by step. They rely on slow speech and very clear articulation to give the child space. They correct pronunciation super carefully, completely without judgment, which is exactly that ease of task Moses asked for. And crucially, they heavily incorporate hand gestures, much like Moses leaning on his physical staff to help anchor his message.
The research points out exactly why stepping in with these therapies is so vital. When speech is delayed, everyday communication just drops off. And that breakdown doesn't just isolate the child, it actively fractures the whole family dynamic. You get less active engagement, and people literally lose the ability to attend to each other's emotional needs. Fixing a speech delay isn't just about the words themselves, it's about repairing the emotional glue that holds a family together.
So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. When we really look at the psychological framing, the deep empathy, and the hyper-practical communication strategies woven into the story of Moses in Surah Taha, we have to ask ourselves, is modern psychology simply catching up to the profound clinical wisdom that was already embedded in these ancient spiritual narratives? It's an incredible intersection of faith, history, and modern science. I hope this sparks some curiosity for you, and I really encourage you to keep seeking out these wild, unexpected connections in the world around you. Thanks for joining me.